box and play it.
Psalms 23 verse 1 to 6. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Dear Father God, thank you for this wonderful day that you have given to us. Father, make us aware that we do this activity not for our own glory, but to glorify your name. Grant your wisdom that to the debaters will value more the unity and cooperation that would happen today, more than the glory of winning. Entrust with us your generosity and love. Whatever we accomplish in this activity, we offer all of this to you. Let this activity serve as a way to praise your name and spread your goodness. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Rest my soul in Christ alone. Know His power in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are King over the floods, and I will be still, know you are God. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are King over the floods, and I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God.
Okay, good morning once again. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our board of judges. We have Ma'am Merilo Amora, our academic head, the senior high, Ma'am Irish Pantelocte, our senior high coordinator, and of course our beloved principal, Sir F.N.B. Limana. Thank you so much for your presence, Ma'am and Sir. and also for the presence of my students here, and also the debaters, of course, the participation of my young students. This is a presentation as our activity in our personal development class. No? And this is in relation to our topic on career pathways. No? So our main objective for this debate is to, what do you think will be our objective? What are we going to do in our debate? We should find out what will be the factors that will what? That will affect our career choice. Will it be the interest or our academic ability? So that will be our objective. We will find that out in this debate. Okay? So I would like to introduce the two groups. We have the government side. Okay? And this is from STEM group, the government side. And the opposition group is from the Young's group, grade 11, of course. All are grade 11. Okay? And I would like to turn over the microphone to our moderator to give us the mechanics of the debate.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. So, here are the debate mechanics. During the debate, speeches shall proceed in the following order. First, the Prime Minister of the government side, followed by the opposition leader of the opposition side. Next is the Deputy Prime of the government side, to be followed by the Deputy Prime of the opposition side. Then, the Whip of the government side, to be followed the Whip of the opposition side. And then lastly, the reply speaker of the opposition side, to be followed by the reply speaker of the government side. When one speaker speaks, other debaters are not allowed to intrude. An appointment may request of a point of information orally by rising or by raising a hand or other similar attention grabber at any time after the first minute and before the last minute of any constructive speech. All other points of information are out of order. No points of information will be allowed in rebuttals. The debater holding the floor has the discretion to accept or refuse points of information and interact with the point as desired. Each speaker will be given 3 to 5 minutes to talk. For the first 3 minutes, a single ring will be the means of notification, and multiple rings if his or her time has ended. Remember, POIs of other debaters will just be given 15 seconds. Speakers are not allowed to use highfalutin and foul words when presenting his or her claims. Audience are not allowed to shout and boo the speaker. The lines hear to support and shame to deny the claims of the speaker. The Prime Minister shall state the resolution during the first speech. Debaters may introduce new arguments during all constructive speeches. No new lines of argumentation may be presented in rebuttal speeches. Rebuttal speeches may include new examples, analysis, and analogies offered to support or refute previously introduced lines of argumentation. So let's start this debate. So it's called the Prime Minister of the government side.
Okay, good morning everyone. I'm Cristel D. Donaire, the Prime Minister of the government side, to present to you the argument and the parameter of this debate. The topic of this debate lies on, should career choices be made on interest or academic ability? The government side prefers academic ability as the basis in making our career choices. The parameter of this debate will just be limited in our locality, which is the General San Jose, Philippines. So I'll start. Education is the key to success, a famous line that every student believed in. And the success of a student refers to having a career someday. Therefore, academic ability is also the key to a career. Since we all go to school to be educated, and to be educated is to hone our academic ability. Choosing a career based on your academic inclinations is just appropriate. If you are good in mathematics, then you may choose a course such as engineering where your mathematical inclinations will be utilized. If you are good in science and technology, you may choose to become a doctor. But many of us students prefer becoming an engineer someday. Most of us likes or loves to be a doctor someday. But not all of us are qualified to do so, because without academic abilities, we would not be able to become an effective, efficient, and competent professional someday that we aim to be. Well, that's the main reason why the government side prefers academic ability as the basis of choosing our career. Another, in choosing a career, we must know ourselves first. The very first question we must ask ourselves is, on what field am I good at? Rather than asking yourself, on what field does my interest lies? It's because an interest of a person is constantly changing. For example, once a student saw an engineer working on his field, they might say, oh, I want to be an engineer someday. Years pass, days pass, or times pass by. They will see a doctor operating a surgery. Then they'll be amazed at saving lives. They tell themselves, oh, how I'd love to be a doctor someday. See, a person's interest or an individual's interest is constantly changing from time to time. It may be because of personal factors, parental factors, or other external factors that could affect their perceptions in life. A person's interest might change due to many factors, just what I said. Today, your interest may be on engineering, but tomorrow or next, engineering might not be your interest anymore. For a doctor, it may be his interest, but without appropriate acquired knowledge of that particular career or profession, a doctor is not a good doctor. An engineer who wishes to be, but don't have academic ability of that field, yes, they may build buildings. But the question is, what if that building falls? It affects the whole place, it wastes money, it wastes time, and wastes your effort. But if you consider academic ability on the other hand, it will always remain unchanged. Once you're good in mathematics, you will grow up remaining good in mathematics. If you're good in science and technology, your profession could also be in line with science and technology where you are good at. It's because learnings of an individual will never fade nor be stolen from them. And that defines our second point, which is academic ability has more importance than interest in choosing a career. Interest is something you are praying for, while academic ability is something you already have. I'm Cristel D. Donaire, the Prime Minister of the government side. I temporarily rest my case. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Clyde Almanin, the opposition leader of the opposition side, and I would like to clarify the points of position of the Prime Minister of the government side. First, she said that academic ability is a key to a career. Although your career choice is based on your academic inclination, but if you don't have interest or you don't have full of interest on the chosen field, you are not going to perform well. This interest shows that it has an important role in choosing a career. Second, you said that academic ability has more importance than interest. Interest is not a second position in choosing a career. But instead, interest oftentimes comes first. When you are interested on what you are doing, you will going to perform well. For example, if you are when you are interested in a certain subject, then what are you going to do? Your mind will focus on it. Your interest will going on it, and then you will going to perform well. Lastly, he said that be first qualified in what you are interested in, make it your interest as your qualified. Just like with Bill Gates. Remember, Bill Gates is just a average kind of student. But look at him now. What makes Bill Gates bring on the position that he had today? He is one of the richest person in the world. And his interest on computers and all that stuff brings him on the position that he had. Now I can say that interest is very important in choosing a career because interest will bring us into a happier and success career in the future. I Clyde Almadin, the leader of the opposition side, and now I temporarily rest my case.
Good morning, everyone. I am Rivers Bernardo, and I am the Deputy Prime Minister of the government side. I would like to clarify what the Deputy Minister of the opposition side spilled out a while ago, that he said that interest is not secondary to academic ability, but interest oftentimes comes first. So what usually comes first is academic ability. What always comes first is academic ability. And here's my point. If you put our interest over our academic ability proceeding in college, then for example, we want to take up medical course because this is your interest. So you know yourself that you are not good in science, and you know that medical course really involves science. So maybe at the latter part, it will be hard for you to pass all the subjects, and what's worse is proceeding to other course will come to mind. So it is a waste of money and time, and it's very impractical. So better before we proceed in college, we should think the best course that really fits our abilities and capabilities. And secondly, not necessarily that we have to overpower our interest in choosing our career in the future. What if we want to be an engineer? Then we know in ourselves that we don't have the passionate interest in mathematics. Though we want to be like this, but we know we cannot be efficient and competent engineer someday, so better not proceed. And we know that nowadays, there's a big competition between graduates to graduates. So once you're going to apply in a company, first the company will really look upon your background. So what if you are really a graduate, but however, your grades are poor, are low? So if I will be the boss, and here is your application paper, looking upon your background and seeing your poor grades, oh my gosh, I am not fit to hire in a position. Better, I will crumple this paper, throw it in the garbage, then find someone better than me. I will not waste my company to you. So in this case, because we follow our interest, not considering our ability, specifically our academic ability, well, anything And I am Reyes Bernardo, once again, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister of the government side. I temporarily rest my case.
Thank you. Next, the Deputy Prime of the opposition side.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ace Mascarinhas Quezada, the Deputy Prime Minister of the affirmative side. So let's start. Mr. Speaker, you said a while ago that academic ability should come first rather than interest. To sum it up, you said that interest is useless. What a very blunt statement coming from you. Come on, stand and justify your claim. Okay, without so much ado, I am going to start my point of view. As of now, many students are confused with the chosen track. Why is it so? Because some students are forced to be on that track without their willingness and interest to have it. The best example, or should I say the student participants of it, are the upcoming SciCore or STEP completers in several places or schools in general fantasy, who are forced to be on the STEM strand. Yes, that is very true. Thus, do you believe that they all wanted to be on that strand? No. Do you believe that without interest, they can able to be knowledgeable and skillful? No. Lastly, do you believe that without interest on their strand, they can be a successful learner in the future? Exactly no. Also, a genetic factor determines our inner IQ. Yet, when our interest is not cultivated positively, academic ability will not also be attained to its maximum level. Thus, interest plays a great role in achieving academic excellence. I only have one point here, and that is full interest as the best factor in choosing prep. Why is it so? Simply because your grades, average, marks, or in short, academic ability don't define your future. It is about your path and how you took that path. And it's about a little bit knowledge, plus hard work, and combined with a full interest. Here. Equals you a successful individual in the future. So, that's all again. Full interest is the best key, or the key to academic success. Okay. I am Ace F. Mascarinhas Quezada, the Deputy Prime Minister of the affirmative side, and I temporarily rest on my case. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ronnie Tikanega. I am the whip of the government. I am here to summarize our points and some points of the answer. So first, our Prime Minister, Mr. Rene, prefers academic ability as the more important in choosing a career. He addressed the statement, education is the key to success. Therefore, academic ability is one of the key in career choosing. She also stated that appropriate this choosing a career using academic ability is appropriate. You choose a career wherein you can utilize what you are good in. Just like you are good in science, you take medical courses. You are good in math, you take engineering courses. Another thing is, choosing a career, we know our study first. Interest is constantly changing from time to time, as what you said. But academic ability is always on our side. We learn from day to day, we learn from our education. So it is always constant. Another is academic ability is more important. It's supported. We give it an example like a doctor. A doctor without an appropriate knowledge, a doctor will never be a good doctor. Another example is an engineer. Without the prior knowledge, many buildings will fall down. All place, waste of time, waste of money, waste of effort. So, in contradict to that, the Prime Minister of the opposition side points out that if we don't have interest in our choosing career, we will not perform well. Interest oftentimes comes first. If you are interested in what you are doing, you will perform well. He also addressed the popularity of Bill Gates as one of the richest person here on our planet. And he stated that Bill Gates is just an average kind of person, but because of his interests, he became a successful one. And afterwards, our Deputy Prime points out some of the points that putting an interest over our academic abilities may result in negative consequences. There are possibilities that we may experience difficulty in surviving or passing a choosing career or a profession. As a result, there will be a waste of time and then waste of money, of course. That's very practical as what he said. Aside from that, another point is the competition between graduates to graduates now. Companies are highly looking for academic abilities in choosing a right profession. For example, you stated engineer. Then afterwards, the other side contradicts the points of Friedrich Bernardo. Your grades, your average will not define. Your grades and your marks don't define your future. It's on the path that you choose and how you step into your path. That's all.
Okay, good morning to the Board of Judges, to the government side, and of course the opposition side, my side. I am Rolio Galbot, the whip of the opposition side, and as of now, I'm going to summarize all your points and all of our points. But first, I would like you to draw your mind that when we say career choice, first thing that comes in our mind is that, what is my interest? Should I say that, where do I belong? If I am good in cooking, then I could rather choose the triple strand major in cookery, right? But if I should say that, no, because I don't have any knowledge, or even though my academic ability is don't fit in that track, but then my interest or my willingness is on that, then your decision is a must. And here are the points of the government side of Prime Minister. She said that academic ability is the key to career, or your academic inclination, or the interests are constantly changing. And the rebuttal was made by our side, and here are the points of our Prime Minister. He said that academic ability is the key to career, but lack of interest may result to a person who can't perform well. And then, academic ability has more importance than interest, rather saying that interest is the most important than academic ability. And the points of our deputy, he said that, or the points of the government side of the deputy, said that when someone is going to apply in a certain job, then the first thing to qualify is that academic inclination. But then a boss may decline the resume presented. But what if, as of now, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you that K-12 program relies on your performances, relies on what you can do to the future years. And the points of the deputy of our side, he said that the senior high school students are forced to take the STEM strand but the majority of the population may decline. Why? Because we have our own interests. We have our decisions in our life. No one can force that, ma'am and sir. And that was all their points. And I was saying that an engineer who can create a building, but what if that building may fall? Because you have your academic ability, but how about your interest on that? Or should you say that when you're going to apply a medical course, but then you are not good in science? But if you have the interest on a medical course, then all of the subject that matters and stuff, you will perform well in a medical course. And or the grades, the average, cannot define exactly your future. And I am Ralio Galbot, the whip of the opposition side, and I finally rest our case.
Thank you. Next is the reply speaker of the opposition side.
Everyone, to our board of judges and to our debaters, of course to our audience and to our teachers here in New Society National High School. Magandang Jensen and magandang New Society. So I am GPC Dinoy, the reply speaker of the opposition side. What is the purpose of your academic ability if you do not have interest or passion to do your work? Interest plays a great role in achieving academic excellence. To be qualified in any career choice, interest of an individual must be given importance. According to TUFTSC.edu, identifying your interest and your skills is the first step to make your career choice. Thus, this interest within us must be cultivated positively for us to be qualified with a career. Let's say, for instance, actors and actresses, or any other persons who are professional right now. They are not academically good. All of them, or let's say some of them, are not intelligent. Most of them did not finish their college and just continue their profession in acting. But we can see in their faces how happy they are, how joyful they are, and how grateful they are with the career that they have right now because of the interest, because they follow their interest within their hearts and within their minds. Listen, everyone. Be enlightened of what will I say, and choose among the two which is the best. Academic ability, which measures the capability of learning and how intelligent you are as a learner, or interest, which motivates you to choose your career based on what you love, what is your passion, and what you prefer to do. Love makes up the whole world. If you love yourself, if you love your environment, and if you love your work, then that's what makes you best. We can bring out the very best in us if we will follow our interest in life. Let's be straight to the point. Let's focus on our goals and think of what makes us happy. Take note of these very important key points. First, interest makes academic good. It is very obvious that if you have interest in a certain subject, then you will study it more than others, and your academic score will be the best. Or maybe your academic performance will be high. Second, interest makes you better in skills you love. I believe interest is the better career choice, and as it helps you with not only what you are interested in, but it also helps you to stay active and amused with what you love to do. Lastly, interests matter. Of course they do. Of course, interests matter. I know that I am quite good at a certain subject, for example, geography. But that doesn't mean that I want to be a geographer someday. I prefer sports, baking, sewing, and law. Say, follow your dreams, not your brain. I want to be what I want to be. Just because someone doesn't have the ability to do a specific career does not mean that they cannot learn to do it. Right. You also need to have an interest in the job than you in order to perform well. Because if you do not like your job, you are not going to perform well. And you will perform it poorly. Let me leave you this quote, daig ng taong masipag ang taong matalino. Once again, I am Chini C. Pinoy, the reply speaker of the opposition side. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, we want the reply speaker of the government side.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maximilian C. Busayong, and I'm the reply speaker of the government side. And I'm here to persuade you, not just the adjudicators, but also my fellow classmates. I'll make it short, precise, and say nothing but the truth. Today, both sides presented and defended the claim well, even though it's against their personal belief and will. They stand straight and firm and talk in front of you. And honestly, for me, interest does matter more. Out of all the factors, interest matters more. What you chose is basically depends on what you're interested right now. Yes, I support and believe that in pursuing your career, interest is the main formula. I won't lie, okay? Even though this speech might tip the scales, I won't lie. I'll be honest, because I believe that when enough people make enough lies, words will stop having meaning. There will be no more truth, but just better and better lies. So yes, we lose. Wait, no. This debate is still not over. We can still turn this wheel around. You see, that was my mindset before. That interest does matter more. But then, before this debate started, I realized that academic ability matters most. As let me ask you something. If you pursue something, a career someday, with just your interests, and one day you wake up that you lose that interest, what will be the reason for you to continue? You're not academically inclined, you don't have the proper knowledge, and you just lost your interest. What do you have left? Let me tell you a story. It's about a baseball player who had a speech in a prison. After the speech, one of the prisoners asked him, "Sir, how did you become a professional baseball player?" Then that baseball player said that, "I think it started when I was a child. Me and my dad play baseball, and he said that if I can throw the ball like that, I'll someday become a professional baseball player. And here I am, a professional baseball player." And then the room was quiet for quite a time. And then one of the the same prisoner who asked the same question, said that, "You know, sir, that also happened to me. When I was a child, my father told me that I was good for nothing. And here I am, in the prison." You see, even though you're interested in that career, even though you want to be someone someday, if the environment or the people around you says that you cannot, you came to the point that you lose your interest. And what do you have when you lose your interest? You don't have the knowledge. Nothing. You'll be nothing when you just pursue something with just your interest. I rest my case. That's all.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So now we'll see what kind of what kind of debate in choosing academic ability or interest. So this time, it's the end of our debate. So that's all. Thank you for learning for visions ma'am or this.
Enter aux in playing. Enter aux in playing.
So, while waiting for the final verdict, for the declaration of winners, I would like to say something for the audience. Because you're all my students in personal development. So while the educators are still trying to finish everything to come up with a final verdict, I would like to refresh this in your minds, students. I would like to ask you in our career pathways lesson, in our topic of career pathways. There are many factors affecting our career choices. So one of those reasons are our academic ability, our interest. What else? The environment. What else? Family. Okay, more from the audience? Financial aspect. What else? Yes, that belongs to your personal traits, no? Okay. Also your skills, of course, no? Your preference, no? Among those 8 multiple intelligences, no? And what else from the audience? And peer factors. So there are so many factors affecting our career choices. Okay? Both of the things that our speakers in this debate have said is one of those factors. No? Interest is one of the factors in choosing a career, and academic ability is also one of the factors in choosing our career. Now, which weighs more for us? Huh? It is our personal decision to choose a career. What career path are we going to take someday? Okay? So, after hearing this debate, I do hope that listeners have now come up with a mindset. Which one are you going to consider more? Huh? Which one are you going to give more weight in choosing your career? Is it your interest or your academic ability? Okay, so the answer lies within you. Okay, so I do hope after this debate, this is part of our class, of course, no? You have to realize this is part of our personal development class and our career pathways lesson. So the debaters gave very good ideas on the side that they will have decided. No? I salute the speakers. Now I would like to call on one of the judges to say their opinions, the truths that they have found out after hearing the speakers. They are going to say their evaluation for each of the speakers in each group. Okay, may I call on Ma'am Mary Amora?
Okay, at first, I would like to congratulate all the debaters. Kindly give yourselves a warm of applause. Okay, I'm very happy and proud seeing you debating. Kasi this is an activity where you show what you acquire in my subject. Yeah. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. But there are those points you fail to show. Okay, but it's okay. Now let's focus on the activity, which is the debating. So the government presented their argument, which is academic ability is the key to career choice. Okay, so you are the one asked to set the parameter. So it should be only in Chensan. Tama ba ko? But the prime of the government failed to define academic ability. Failed to define. Okay, it's okay. So the Prime Minister of Academic has presented points about their sign. So yung pinaka-main is academic ability is the key to one's career choice. With her evidences, okay, like becoming doctor, becoming engineer, once one doesn't have the skill or the ability in math. Okay, at first, I would like to congratulate all the debaters. Kindly give yourselves a warm applause. Okay, I'm very happy and proud seeing you debating. Kasi this is an activity where you show what you acquire in my subject. Am I right? Okay. But there are those points you fail to show. Okay, but it's okay. Now let's focus on the activity, which is the debating. So the government presented their argument, which is academic ability is the key to career choice. Okay, so you are the one asked to set the parameter. So it should be only in Chensan. Tama ba ko? But the prime of the government failed to define academic ability. Failed to define. Okay, it's okay. So the Prime Minister of Academic has presented points about their sign. So yung pinaka-main is academic ability is the key to one's career choice. With her evidences, okay, like becoming doctor, becoming engineer, once one doesn't have the skill or the ability in math of the government side. Okay, according to the speaker, one won't perform well when one is not interested to the work. Okay. One won't perform well. One won't be competent in a particular work when one doesn't have the interest. And the speaker presented an example. Okay, the case of Bill Gates. For the speaker, I didn't know where he got this info that Bill Gates is just an average kasi it's not included the reference where you got this information. Pwede na siya katang isip mo. So better if you have provided the audience the reference to make it valid. Okay. Do you agree that Bill Gates become successful in life because of his interest?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure, for your group, they'll say yes, and for this group, no. Is it interest alone, which made him successful in his chosen career? Okay, so let's proceed to the next speaker. The Deputy Prime Minister of the government, represented by Mr. Bernardo. So, Bernardo reiterated the claim of the Prime in his sign, which is academic should come first. One should know himself first, what one can do, before knowing his interest. And example of this presented by the speaker is when one proceeds to college. One should know his ability so one can be successful in the chosen field. Another example is when one is applying for a job. What is first, what does the company look for an applicant first? Okay, so the government side has presented this idea na the first to check is the academic performance. What's your basis of it? Where did you get the idea? Yun yung kulang. Where did you get the idea that it's the academic performance of the applicant which is hinahanap ng company? So kulang, hindi strong yung evidences presented kasi you did not include the reference. Pero what we think of it, pwedeng tama. Am I right? Because you will be required of transcript of record when applying for a job. Well, you'll be asked at first what your interests are. At first. It will happen during interview. Okay, how did the deputy rebut or how did the deputy rebut the point presented by Bernardo? With questions. Ano yung sinabi? Do you believe that without interest, one can perform best? Okay, that is left by the speaker to us to think. When interest is not cultivated, academic ability, according to the speaker, when interest is not cultivated, one won't excel academically because academic ability, according to the speaker, don't define one's future. Okay, think of that. So, the speaker continued to claim that full interest is the key to, okay, pero may sikya because you specify the success there. It's not career, but academic success yung na-mention ng speaker. So, full interest, according to the speaker, is the key to academic success. And we're talking about career success here. Okay, let's proceed to the next speaker in person of Kaniega for government side. So, he tried to summarize. And those points are given by the speakers before him. And the same reiterated that becoming doctor, becoming engineer, one should know his academic ability for one to be successful in the chosen field. So, pero you're confused because supported ng speaker the idea of the opposite about Bill Gates, who became successful because of his interest in computer. Yun yung mahina mo doon. Okay, for the opposition with represented by Hugalbot. So, academic ability, okay, you mentioned yung point of the government that academic ability is the key to career. But for the group, as mentioned by the speaker, it's the interest which is the most important. Okay, you fail to rebut the point of the government na interest is constantly changing. Okay, the interest is constantly changing. I didn't hear from the speakers counterplay for this point. Okay. Where did you get the idea that STEM students are just forced to take the strand? Kasi I did not hear from the group or from the speaker where you got this idea. Are you forced to take this stand or this field? The upcoming. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry for that. If you are referring to the upcoming, where did you get the idea? So hindi mo na mention yung study. The complete title of the study and who studied that topic na STEM students are just forced to take. Okay. Let's proceed to the last speaker, the reply speakers on both sides. I am impressed with the speaker in the Oppo for being so clear, for being so relaxed in speaking. You presented those good points. Nakulbaan ko sa style of the reply speaker in the government side, and I appreciated your being honest. Pero there's a twist. So at first, nakulbaan ko, my God, because you're giving your side to the opposition. And with it, nagpakatotoo lang siya. Pero as you are in the field, you change your mind. Because you realized that academic really matters, or it matters most. So he got that idea out of his experiences. And leaving this line with us, what if when you lose your interest, what remains to a person? How will you survive in life without the interest and knowing that the person doesn't have the ability? Okay, all those are ideas coming from the speakers. So let us just see who or what between the two groups, the government or the OPPO, will win this debate. Okay, let's consider the other adjudicators. Thank you.
Fellow adjudicators, and of course our association pastor Evan Lima, and of course to Ma'am Mary Amora and Ma'am Bayhon, to our appealing debaters. Can you have your hands to yourselves? Okay, so before I give some of my jotted feedback or comments here, I would like to commend and congratulate everyone, no? Especially our brave, fearless, and confident debaters. No? I've seen debates in college, but I can also see na seeing you, since I've seen college students also debating. So you can, I believe one day, no, you can become, you'll be excelled in this field of activity. Now, allow me this morning to share some of the inputs na meron ko ako dito. So, I'll start first criterion, which is about matters, so arguments, reasoning, facts, examples, positive and substantive rebuttals, POIs, open and taken. So, Ma'am Aurora have mentioned already some of the points that you have mentioned and emphasized in your specific, in opposition in government side. Now, allow me to just give my observations in terms of the debate process. So, in terms of giving POI, so I observed none of you offered and have taken points of information. Meron, pero walang nag-take na, but it's alright. So, also, I would like to say again also what Ma'am Amora has said a while ago about your evidences. You have the points, but you lack supporting evidences. So, we have primary, secondary sources for information. You can get information from like statistics, if there are records that shows, or there are researches that shows group of students or group of individuals or professionals who actually would prove na interest nga ba or academic rating. Kasi merong points doon na sinabi from, kanino ba yun kanina na, he said that the first thing that you need to consider when you choose career is interest. So, when you think about career, mentally or internally, the decision first is about interest. But when you go to the place like to have or to sign in for that career, what will be considered is your academic ability. So somehow, these two has an interconnection or interconnectivity. How about term ko? Ganon. So it's a matter of, actually, it's a matter of how you prove the points with evidence. Statistical evidence, research, evidences, or other articles that prove your points. And then, in terms of rebuttals, I observed that most of you have focused on presenting your points. No? You forgot to if you are the reply speaker, the Deputy Prime Minister, you first summarize what the opponent has said. Okay? So that you can rebut effectively. You summarize it and then you counter it with your points. And you can even use your hand gestures or body gestures. You can use, this is just a suggestion for next, You can use your hands like to emphasize it with first. You can do this one, second, and you really look eye to eye to the adjudicators or to anyone. If for this short debate, I can suggest that you can have it like you can have at least 3 main arguments. Focus on 3 main arguments, and then this must be emphasized by Prime Minister, Deputy, and the whip. Because the fourth speaker will summarize it and prove that you won in the debate. I-summarize niya at saka sabihin niya, they won because of the 3 arguments. So ang gawin ng mga speakers na ito should find evidences for the 3. Gagawin mo siyang outline. But anyways, I appreciate kasi meron kayong points doon that I believe ang hugot nun is based on your experiences and based on what you have researched. All in all, I congratulate you for doing your best. And aside from that, I would like to commend your manner. Meron naman doon yung manner in terms of, nakita ko naman na you have the confidence and you can be potential debaters, not just in school, but it could be inter-school if there is possibility of opportunity. One day. Ayun. Yun naman, so I will not mention na yung mga sinabi niyo kasi mention na po yun kanina. Ano ba yung last? Okay. Yun lang, so far. In general, yun na po. Congratulations to our facilitator, Ma'am Bayhon. Thank you so much for listening.
Just not as a facilitator. I'm going to begin with the first criteria, which is matter. Under this is arguments and reasoning. We have the facts examples, positive and substantive rebuttals. And the last one, which is POIs, which is not visible to the duration of the debate. In the arguments and reasoning, you have presented well your arguments and your reasoning, both sides. I acknowledge how organized are the ideas presented by the Prime Minister of the government side, and also the reply speaker of the opposition side. You have very organized ideas presenting your arguments and your reasoning. Congratulations. And what is this? Second one, facts and examples. You presented plenty of facts to support your claim, but as Ma'am Amora said, on that examples you presented, you forgot to defend, to convince us that it is really a fact because of the lack of evidences to supply it. As also what Irish has said, you lack evidences to supply your claim. In citing your examples, you have to cite concrete evidences where you have taken that idea to strengthen your claim. Okay? So I hope for the upcoming debates that you are going to participate in, you are going to take that. And also the outline given by my Irish, I do agree with that. That you have to outline your mind, that you have these points, and for every point, you have to take note, you have to summarize first before you rebut, you counter. So that it will be stronger. Okay? And then, the last one, which is, what is this? Positive and substantial rebuttals. Oh, that is it. The rebuttals. So, for it to be positive and substantive, you have to first summarize. I have already said that. Summarize and counteract. And then the next one, the next criteria, which is manner, I can see that almost not, but some are yung inyong full contact with the audience, with the eye contact, of course you have that voice modulation, the hand gestures are somewhat distracted by your copy. You keep on lingering on looking at your copy. So you must have outlined that in your mind. Less on lingering on looking at your copies. Because it will also distract the audience and also the judges. And then, okay, so at least you also integrate a little sense of humor when speaking. Okay? And then the last one is the method. Each one of you have under this is the organization of ideas and then consistency and teamwork of speakers. Each one of you have your own way of organizing the ideas to convince the judges. Bawat isa may kanyang strategy. And I can see the fluency of some, and some are, I think, are not very well prepared for this because I can see that there are some flaws along the way. So I do hope as you keep on participating in debates like this, you are going to improve more yourself on some points that you have heard now from our judges. Okay, so I will now turn over the microphone to our principal to also comment and say his observations on the duration of the debate.
Nice that we have this program in our department, the SEAMEO Debate, to introduce the development of our teachers, not only on academic interest, but more of being a professional teachers, meeting the needs of our 21st learners in the machine. Being an old principal to retire soon, I'm very happy that this was introduced to the teachers, to the young teachers like Bayhon and to other judges. Na magamit pa talaga nila yung skills na bibigay sa kanila. And one of those is this one. The teaching style that I most like to experience even when I was in high school. Though I am not a major in English, siguro tama yung lahat na tayo meron kami choice. Pero sa akin, my personal is based on the presentation, although some are baseless. Murag ni sa pato at patamata ng nasabi na lahat, nasabi na lahat. Hindi na ako mag-comment doon kasi hindi naman ako talaga authority and English speaker, but based on experience, yung masasabi ko. Pero nasabi, yun ang advantage pag nasa speaker ka. Wala ka nang sabi na lahat. But nevertheless, i-emphasize ko lang po yung programa ng ating government, especially sa education sector, that this program is very helpful on the part of the teachers and towards the end to the end user of the issue. So, grab the opportunity, having this kind of experience as young as you are, ma-develop pa, dapat makakulang based on the judgment made by the most authority and of course your teacher as different sila for that. Which I observe, ilan ba ang rating natin for tayo? Excellent. Ang next to excellent is very good. Good. Poor or fail, poor, and needs improvement in I. No? So, hindi naman kayo na-full doon sa I, hindi kayo doon sa poor, good, nasa ES. Napakalaki pa kung gawin nyo para ma-improve na mga abot yung excellent as young professionals later, as young professionals as you are. Siyempre, mga professionals naman may level. So, grade 11, okay, you still have 1 year in grade 12. You can still improve. Marami pa mga teachers. We have scheduled 4 teachers to take this program every duration of 3 months. So with that, baka kayo pa rin na maging debater, so you have already an idea based on the findings of the judges. Ayaw ko kung sino pipiliin nila na best debater and best speaker. Mayroon ka tayong maganda. Okay, so yun na ang masasabi ko sa inyo ha. Ayusin ninyo. And when I signed the cards of our grade 12, ako po'y namamangha sa grade ng mga brothers ninyo na nauna sa inyo. Napakataas po ng kanilang grades. Ibig sabihin po talaga, they really are ready to be hired later. Tama yung sinabi ni Makamura, hindi mo na yung pinatanong sa akin yung interest no, pag-interview. Last na yun. Ito talaga ang tinitingnan. Pag-evaluate doon sa ranking paper, yung paper na sinasabit ng mga teachers, ito talaga ang unang tinitingnan dahil kung ilahang pivot result. Ito yung pinakamataas ng percentage. Basis for writing. Next to it is your result in the pivot. And interest ng others. Okay. Both together, you combine, you make a person to be a person who is willing to be mag-improve ba yun ka kung nasa sa field, nasa sa ating trabaho, kung willing ka masabit sa ating sarili na i-correct sa ating mga boss. Kaya mas lalo pa tayo mag-improve, lalo na sa ating performance. Wala nang question sa academic, wala nang question sa interest, then you will be like an eagle who will score high in your work. No, diba? So prepare for that because you are going to reach there, to be there. How many years from now? Grade 11, 12. You have 4 years from now. It's 5 years from now. Kung engineering ka, 5. Kung doctor ka, 10. Kung abogado ka, 5. The set of years that you will be preparing yourself, I think, if you are willing with this, together with this, then you will be successful. Okay? So lahat tayo merong idea, but we need both. Okay? We need both. That's why we present here, that we have to consider both for us to be able to be successful. As human resource worker of our country, we have to do it according to the ideas presented by the Si Rizal nagsabi, ang pag-asa ng bayan ay kayo yon, kami hindi na matanda. Sila nila may nag-guide sa inyo para magiging ganun talaga pag-asa ng bayan. So thank you and thank you Ma'am Bayhon. So we believe you will be successful and you will graduate as one of the 21st century trained teachers of Jesus Christ. Marami pa po sa ibang school natin. So hopefully, we will be able to target everybody of the teachers in Jesus Christ under the same way. Congratulations po ma'am.
You are encouraged to give your ears because it is the verdict, the judgment. I hope everyone has the idea of accepting judgment. Okay. But before I will give the judgment, I would like to inform the debaters and those who help this activity that this can be used for for applying for awards when you will be in grade 12. That is if they'll be given certificate by Ma'am Bayhon. Okay. So, since it is debating, we will identify winners. And I hope for those who will not be chosen, you have the heart to accept. And the heart to improve. Okay? So, the adjudicators have combined minds and decisions and come up with this. Okay, let's identify first our best speaker. So our best speaker. Okay, she's from the opposition side. And of course, we have criteria which we followed. So, pumasok sa criteria. And she is Miss Dinoy. Yes, Dinoy. Okay, kindly give a warm applause to our best speaker. For our best debater. So all gave their points about the issue, but failed to provide arguments with evidences. So we identified best speaker. And our best debater, is Miss Donaire. Constant group. Okay, for the best group, so both groups, the government and the opposition, win this debating team. So you have the same score because both failed to provide their arguments, evidence. No, you have your evidences, but those are not reliable or valid. So you should provide us result of researches, statistics. So good luck for the next time. And I hope all of you will open hearts to improve. Thank you.
I'm going to prepare another prize for the other group because your prize is a little bit different from the first group who were introduced already the prize. So just